first of all, say a word about chiropractic. When I first went there, I was real short. I'd only been going about 6 months, and look at me. Not bad. Well, now back to the Total Living Center. I happen to be a Presbyterian pastor. And after serving 43 years in the pastorate, I felt there's something wrong. We're not seeing people helped the way they ought to be helped. And God spoke to me to start a ministry to the poor and to leave the Presbyterian ministry. I'm still a Presbyterian pastor. I just look like the other network. But the thing is that when I started that, I had no idea what to do or anything else. And God has led, and it has developed into a huge ministry to the inner city and to the poor. But one night, over 20 years ago, a gentleman called me and said, "I'm Dr. Powell." I never heard of Dr. Powell. He was very famous, but I had not heard of him. And he said, "I'm a chiropractor, and I'd like to start a free chiropractic clinic at the Total Living Center." I said, "How much will it cost?" No, he said, "I want to start a free one." That's wonderful. And he came and started a free chiropractic clinic in our Total Living Center. And I tell you, then I thought, I'll get different chiropractors to come and we'll get more hours. I contacted a number of them, couldn't get any of them interested. Only Dr. Powell, and then later his son Jim, and then Chip come down, and then comes Robert with the nutritional aspect. And they have stayed there ever since. I was stopped to get a light for my car one day, and a man said, "You're Pastor Bartow." I said, "Yes." And he said, "You don't know me, but I know you, because I go to your center," or I did. And he said, "I was very, very ill. I took all kinds of medicine. I was getting addicted to things, everything, all kinds of pain and everything." And I went down there, and a Dr. Chip started to take care of me. And he said, over a period of some weeks and all, I was completely healed. And he says, "I now have a full-time job right here." He was the guy waiting on me at the clerk and from the clinic. But that's just one of the many there at the center. But also at the Total Living Center, we have a beauty salon, we have a laundromat, and we have meals, we have luncheons, we have groceries by the hundreds of pounds, all this stuff going to help the needy. And we encourage you to keep us in your prayers. And there's a flyer that tells a bit about us. I'd like to also say that as I then started to go to the chiropractor, because when Dr. Powell called me, he didn't realize what kind of shape I was in, because I had great pain. I could hardly get around. When I get downtown to a meeting, I would try to find a spot where you bring the wheelchair up on the sidewalk from the street. I didn't want to step from up on the curb because it hurt my back so bad. And I just was terrible. But I decided to go. Now my wife was the assistant to one of the leading cardiologists in the city. We had no use for chiropractors. All we knew was what we had heard. And what we heard was worse by far than what I've heard about Presbyterians. But anyhow, they went with that, and I decided to go. I began to get the treatments. And then my back was so bad, and I discs a mess and everything. So Dr. Jim referred me to a chiropractor with one of these machines that stretches you both ways at the same time and then squeezes you back together. Well, that was me. So I went and took 21 treatments on that. And on the 21st treatment, after every treatment, it would be terrible. I couldn't hardly walk. But I believed the Powells. And now I took a lot of belief when you kept hurting all the time. And this last 21st, after that I got up and I walked better. And the more I walked, the better I felt. And you know, I haven't had any pain in that back. Well, I've had some people give me pain in the back, but I haven't had any pain in the back since that treatment. That's been over 20 years ago. And then, on top of that, in 2005, I had congestive heart failure. Came back from Texas. I've been in Texas and in the hospital. And it must have been pretty bad, because 3 weeks later, when I went back to the clinic to be checked out, the nurse said to me, "I never thought I'd see you again." Because when they took me in at middle of the night, emergency, she felt I wouldn't make it to the hospital 30 miles away. But I did. And then when I left, he gave me directions, you know. Now you gotta be really careful. Don't lift over 5 pounds. Don't do this, don't do that. You're gonna have to change. Well, strange but true. When I got back in town, I learned that there's not only chiropractors at Powell's, but there's a Dr. Robert. And I went to Dr. Robert, and if you know, it was amazing. He would prescribe this or that. I started taking. And before I knew it, my heart was hard, everyone. I just keep going all the time now. And it's just, Robert, I can't say enough for you, what you do. And I haven't yet figured out what you do, but I keep taking those pills. Thank you. But the Powells have meant so much to us. I can't say enough for them, and I write for them when I get a chance. I talk every chance I get to say to people, try the chiropractor, you know. And because, you know, you go to the doctor, sometimes you give you medicine, they say, now be careful with this, it could become addictive. Now that's good news. But they do it. And Dr. Jim, to you and Dr. Chip and your dad and Dr. Powell here, just keep going. In fact, I could be wrong, but I think since you met me, you look younger. And I thought, you know, when I get old, I hope I look young too. Okay, thank you very much, thank you.